Today we're going to talk about how you can grow those skills, use your voice, and step into leadership. We truly believe that each and every one of you guys have the ability to be leaders, and you don't have to wait till you're older. Leadership can start now by just doing the right thing and leading by example.
What are some of the obstacles, what are the things I need to get done so I don't have to prepare? So for example, academically, I knew my role in athletics and in education, your background, your grades and stuff was very important. So I made sure that academically I had things in place. So when a situation arose, an opportunity, they could not say, well, sorry, grades aren't good. Then they look at your conduct and discipline. And they may say, Mr. Allen, Lou, because by the way, little footnote, I always wasn't a good kid. And I tell kids right now, the administrator, whatever you try to do, try to get away with it. I wrote the book on it. I either got away with it or it was a boundary. And so I tell people, I kept my record clean. Right? It's because I knew it's going to catch up to me. So it's all in preparation. Academic, attendance. I showed up to school. I showed up at work. So these things, there were barriers. I can eliminate barriers. What about race being a barrier? It is a barrier, but I came to the table with the mindset, I don't care what color, where I'm from, what religion, I'm still going to be the best candidate for that job and that position. I wasn't going to let it be a barrier. They call that being proactive.
Doubted myself a lot when I was in college. One key time I can remember, I was having a hard time with my master's course. And at this time, I'm still in a full football schedule, so that means, you know, when my class is meeting, I'm at practice. So I'm never able to kind of like get the knowledge that they're gaining, meet when they're meeting, so I had to do everything on my own. And it was almost overwhelming to the point where I didn't know if I could even do this anymore. And that's another thing, I doubted myself in my first week in college football. I was ready to quit after the first day. You know, one thing that helped me out with that was I thought to myself, what am I going to go home to? Like, my parents done threw me a party. Everybody's glorifying me for being, you know, one of the only kids coming out of the area on a scholarship. People were proud of me. People were looking up to me. And that's what helped me push through. I couldn't come back home to Philly. So I put that on myself heavily. And then scholastically, like I said, you know, just doing a master's, which was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. There were times where I was, again, I couldn't quit, but mentally I was just ready to just call it quits and just say, I'm getting out of here. But, you know, it's always good when you have a good background, a good emotional support. My mother would never let me feel bad about myself. She would always help me push through. My brothers, if I ever needed anybody, I was able to call them and able to speak to them. You know, and that's how I got through a lot. Like, you know, you got to have a good background.
How can we as men of color better support and uplift each other in leadership spaces?
I think by being proactive, taking interest, making yourself available to help one another. Sometimes we silo ourselves and view each other as competition, when it's the complete opposite. Your successes are my successes. My successes are your successes. You know, when someone you know or could be available for succeeds, that should be just as gratifying for you as if it were you. That's the importance of having circles and keeping close groups, being able to provide helpful advice to one another, but more importantly, being able to point out, hey, you're slacking, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, holding your counterpart accountable for their actions. That's the definition of uplifting and assisting one another. You know, it's very easy to sit back and watch someone do things that are going to cause them to fail or be unsuccessful. But being able to intervene and pulling that person aside Not because you think or believe you're better than them, but, hey, I want you to succeed. Once again, getting back to frame of mind, your successes are my successes are yours. And just bringing each other along, being that assistance, being that friend to either provide insight or sometimes just being able to listen or being that confidant.
A couple things were stated that are just so truthful to me, especially when we talk about titles. I love to have a title, but a title does not make me. The reason that I have a title and that I've had different titles is because I want the opportunity to show people that you can achieve and you can make it to a place where you have input in the room. As far as being called state rep, many people would tell you, I like to just be called Nolan. I'm not worried about someone calling me state rep. I'm not worried about someone calling me officer Nolan. I tell people when I introduce or when I said I'm Nolan. If people want to call me Anthony, that's fine, but I prefer Nolan because I want people to be comfortable enough to come up to me and call me and talk to me. The big thing about Mr. Allen touched on self-esteem. It took me a little while to build self-esteem. It wasn't until my older years that I found that I got dyslexia. So I used to sit back and I didn't like to talk in front of people as much. I faked it a lot because I had trouble reading and I had trouble comprehending and I had trouble remembering things. And even when I'm older, to this day, I read from things. And I got adults that say, well, he's reading from something. I say, I need to read from something sometimes because I need to be able to keep my focus. So I'll have my phone or I'll have something in front of me when I'm up in Hartford speaking or when I'm doing an interview on the news. I usually have something because it helps me remember sometimes because I forget. Mr. Allen said something about being old and forgetting. It ain't always being old forgetting. But you have to be able to be, I guess, assured with yourself. And just because we might have some kind of disability or we might have something that's different from somebody else, it doesn't make you less of a person. It's actually, I think, something that should encourage you to make your hand better. I just wanted to share that.